This video is about Ilhan Omar. She is a congresswoman, and I'm going to go through her legislation and I'm going to tell you what she's doing that is good and what she's doing that's bad. And there's some weird stuff in here. She only has 15 bills sponsored. She hasn't been a legislator very long. So we're going to go through it in order. The weird stuff is going to come in a random order. So we've got here an amendment to another bill. It says that she wants the Secretary of Defense to report to Congress the financial costs and national security benefits of operating, improving, and maintaining overseas military infrastructure. The problem I have with this is very simple. It's already been done. I mean, this is it right here. It's already been done. Why is she um, asking for it to be done again by another group? It doesn't show good use of her time. Now, this is another one where it's called the Student Loan Advocacy Act. And basically, what it's doing is if you're a student and you want a student loan, they're just going to give you all the information. It's like, come on, you can't expect me to believe that students don't already have sufficient information. So she's going to replace the current program with another program, just basically rename it as all stuff like, oh, give them this pamphlet and give them that. It sounds like a complete waste of money. There's really nothing here that hasn't been done before. This one is free breakfast and lunch for all children. I think that this is a waste of money considering the fact that our government has $24 trillion of debt. Now, how much do you think it costs to provide free lunch and breakfast for all children? Considering the fact that there's people already getting it, you might think it costs a couple $1,000,000 or tens of millions of dollars. The interest on our national debt is 393 billion per year. We need to stop spending money. If we stop spending money, you can get all this stuff and no one will complain about it. But we can't afford to continue increasing our debt with any program. This is to reimburse childcare expenses of federal employees who are furloughed. That means if you're a federal employee and you lose your job and you're at home, you get reimbursement of childcare expenses. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to sneeze. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because if you're at home, your child care expenses is going to go down. You don't have to pay for child care anymore. Why would it doesn't really make sense. So it's something where she's trying to give money to someone. Again, we don't have the money to do this. There's going to be weird stuff in here. This is an example of one. This is protect against unlawful lobbying. Look what it says. Legal action against individuals suspected of violating this act. That means if you're suspected of unlawful lobbying, they can take legal action against you just on suspicion alone. That means you're not guilty. Suspicion, usually you have means, motivation, and opportunity. Maybe I think that legal action needs more than suspicion, because otherwise everyone is going to say we're suspicious of this, we're suspicious of that. I think it needs to be harder than that. There's going to be weird stuff coming. Manufactured Housing Communities Sustainability Act. I believe that this is a tax credit. So if she's targeting low income people because they live in manufactured homes. So she's giving a tax credit to poor people. This is protect democracy from criminal corporations. Now, the first thing is, what is a criminal corporation? There is no such thing as a criminal corporation. And it says protect democracy. This is just a vague bill. And trust me, there's going to be weird stuff coming up. It's a vague bill that says that it defines what she says a criminal corporation is. And it basically says if you violate section whatever of this code, that you can be punished. But there's already the section in the code. It's already a crime. So basically what she's saying is she's going to punish you for something that's already illegal. It's a little bit weird. It sounds like it's a duplicate crime. She's going to say, I'm tough on criminal corporations. This is a bogus. This is a weird one. It says No Shame at School Act to prohibit the stigmatization of children. She wants to pass a bill to prohibit the stigmatization of children who are poor, unable to pay for school meals. This is absolute nonsense. How do you prohibit stigmatization of children? How do you do that? That means that if you make fun of kids, if you look poorly upon a child who doesn't have enough money, it's going to be prohibited if this bill passes. This is really weird. She's going to legislate your personal beliefs. Student Debt Cancellation Act says right here, forgive outstanding federal and private student loans. Basically what she's doing is making university for free if you've already paid for it. Zero Waste Act. This is an act that says that companies will get a grant if they produce a product that has minimal amount of waste. And the problem with this is you produce products because somebody needs it. You don't produce a product just so you can make no waste. A grant comes before you produce a product. Do you see why it doesn't make sense? If someone makes zero waste, they're already doing it. There's no grant money. You give a grant to someone as an incentive to build something, but the product has to be useful too. It kind of doesn't make sense. What they're going to do is they're going to take the grant money, they're going to produce a stupid product that no one's ever going to buy, and they're going to pay themselves a salary from the grant money. This is a waste of money. Let's see if it says how much money is going to be wasted. $250 million for 7 years. There's weird stuff coming that you're going to say this woman is a nut job, and this is it right here. It's 2561 Brunei Human Rights Act. This is evidence that you should not vote for this woman and that she's completely crazy. The penal code further criminalizes exposing Muslim children to the beliefs and practices of any religion other than Islam. Can you believe that? That is absolutely crazy. Oh, actually, is that what the current law in Brunei is? Okay, so that's the current law in Brunei. She basically wants to put sanctions against Brunei. So maybe it's not such a crazy thing. I'm sorry that I misread it. You know, sometimes this happens. Because this is under findings, okay? So we're all going to learn something right now. Some bills have findings, and they're saying you should be aware of this, okay? So she's actually doing something good here, okay? She calls the new penal code draconian. She wants to impose sanctions against Brunei. Okay, so here's the one that's really weird. You may know this. She is a believer in a group about boycotting and divesting from Israel. This is a bill that says all Americans have the right to participate in a boycott. It's already legal, but she wants to affirm it. And the reason why is because I don't know if you remember, I believe that Tlaib might be Palestinian, and she wanted to go to Palestine, but Israel blocked her from going because she wanted to go there to protest against Israel. And Ilhan Omar is affirming their right to boycott. They're talking about Israel. This is nonsense. She should not be passing bills about things like this. Okay, so as you can see, maybe I misstated a few things. She doesn't have a lot of bills. She's mostly trying to give money to poor people, and she has some ideas. I think they're implemented wrong, such as the zero waste grant. It should not be done that way. It's just going to end up in wasting money. But she's not really doing any sort of crazy, amazing, positive bill. Okay, so that's my review of Ilhan Omar. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.